Hello folks, this is Mike, PC31, the Vinyl Policeman. It's Saturday and it's been a hot, very hot, sweaty day here in the UK. Ben Rankins in Melbourne, Australia would have probably wore a coat today. It's still been too chilly for him. But it's been a very hot day here in the UK. And anyway, what I've decided to do, inspired by people like Chris Brophy, who's put up some fantastic threads lately, and Rod, Happy Hippie Vinyl guy, who's just put up a thread for 12 front men, front women, and the various great threads and tags that's been going around. I thought I'd actually put one up of my own, and quite a straightforward one. And so basically what I'm asking is for you to select one record label. Obviously there's hundreds and hundreds. One record label, and to choose 5 different albums from 5 different artists. Now, if it's a small label, an indie one or something like that, then and you need to do multiple artists, same artists but multiple albums, no problem. If they've done a compilation album with artists on the label, I'll put that in. But I guess the ideal situation: 5 different artists, 5 different albums on that single label. So my one, which I've selected, and I thought of quite a few actually, but the one I thought I'd go with would be a very British, very London-based label, and that's Stiff Records. So Stiff started life in 1976. Dave Robinson and Jake Riviera. Both of those guys were faces in the London music scene for quite a few years. Jake Riviera used to manage Dr. Feelgood. Dave Robinson was close with Jimi Hendrix and Brinsley Schwartz, but they were kind of faces in London at the time. So they created Stiff Records, 1976. It ran to 1986. The label was then reactivated in 2007 and is now in the hands of, it still exists, but it's in the hands of Universal, the mighty Universal, but it still exists. But over the years, I mean, Stiff actually produced 65 albums on the label, 259 singles. And all the albums have all got a says SEEZ and then a number. The singles have all got a by and then a number. There's a few other old ones as well, which Devo used. Probably the most famous single that came out of Stiff was Fairy Tale of New York City, which I think is just NY1 or something. But most of them are on the SEEZ or on the buy. Artists who are actually with Stiff over the years, the artist they probably made most money from was Madness, who released a lot on Stiff. But the Pogues, Lena Leverage, Susie and the Banshees, Motorhead, Dr. Feelgood, Graham Parker and the Rumour, Desmond Decker, and lots of others all went through Stiff, whether it was just for a couple of singles, an album or whatever. So anyway, I'm going to show 5 albums. And the first one is the debut album from The Damned, Damned. So this particular one is basically SEEZ says, sorry, let me just take this one out. There's the actual Stiff label. They're really great labels as well, and you'll see different colour ones, etc. But if I just take this one out. So this was the Damned's debut album. This was from February 77 and produced by Nick Lowe, who was on the Stiff label as well. But on the album here, you've got Neat, which is a single. You've got New Rose, which in the UK, New Rose was basically the very first punk single that was released October 76, and as I say, it's acknowledged that was the first punk single to come out of the UK. That's the back of the album there. Distributed, they actually negotiated a deal with Ireland as well, and I think Ireland did the distribution, but the actual label was Stiff. But great album, yeah, produced by Nick Lowe. Second album wanted to show was the mighty, probably my favourite artist off of Stiff, the mighty Elvis Costello. So My Aim Is True. And this was Elvis's debut album. And again, there's the Stiff label. Okay, so July 1977, Nick Lowe produced it again. It was the only album which Elvis did on the Stiff label. Then he went off to Radar Records. Basically, what happened at the end of the 70s, there was a falling out between Dave Robinson and Jake Riviera. Jake Riviera created a new label called Radar, and he took Nick Lowe, took Elvis Costello with him. Ireland came in. They did a deal with Dave Robinson, and I think Ireland then owned 50% of Stiff Records from the latter part of the 70s into the mid-80s. But this was the only album which, I say, Elvis did with Stiff Records. And this one comes in, I think, about 4 different colours. That one. Third one to show is, I definitely remember Reckless Eric. Big Smash. So this is from February 1980. Got to number 30 in the UK. This was his 3rd record on Stiffs, and this is number 21 in their catalogue. Look at the label on that one. So you've still got the Stiff Records, but you've got this different colour. What's that? Teal? Something like that. Reckless Eric, his biggest single, which is not on this one actually, but Whole Wide World. I'd go the whole wide world just to find her. That one. But that's not on this album, but great album cover. Let me show you a bit more because it is really good. Big Smash. Reckless Eric. Big Smash. The guy who was who did the artwork, did most of the artwork for Stiff, was went under the name of Barney Bubbles. And as I say, he was on contract to Stiff. The 4th one I wanted to show was another big name, Ian Dury. So Ian Dury, this is September 77. This is a fantastic Ian Dury album, and what a lot of people consider to be his best. And the front cover is quite interesting because where it's called Ian Dury New Boots and Panties, they had loads of different names for this. And New Boots and Panties, Ian Dury had a thing at the time about buying only second-hand clothes, and he wouldn't wear anything else. And he basically said, the only clothes I'll ever buy new are new boots and panties, thankfully. And the little lad alongside him there is his son, Baxter Dury. But there's the record again. Stiff. And on this particular album, you've got Wake Up and Make Love With Me, Sweet Gene Vincent. Ian Dury was fanatical about Gene Vincent. Billy Ricky Dicky, very famous. Clever Trevor. There's some great tracks on this one. Okay. The mighty Ian Dury. And the final one I was going to show is a compilation album, and it's basically some of the major artists from Stiff who went on, but they've been on various tours, and this is actually taken from one of their live tours. I think this was recorded in several different places in different universities, but it's called basically Live Stiff Live, and you've got all the major artists there. Larry Wallace at the back, so Nick Lowe, Elvis, Reckless Eric, Ian Dury. And this is an absolutely brilliant live album. Red label on that one. This is an absolutely terrific live album. If you can get a hold of this, because it's just one of those albums where you do feel as if you're standing in a very small venue and kind of you're in the front row. You can hear all the things that are going wrong, etc. And on this particular one, you've got Nick Lowe's band is called Nick Lowe's Last Chicken in the Shop. I Knew the Bride, great number. Let's Eat. Reckless Eric and the New Rockets. Larry Wallace, Psychedelic Rowdies. Elvis Costello and the Attractions, of course. Ian Dury and the Blockheads. And the last track on there is Sex, Drugs and Rock and Roll Chaos. But you've got people like Dave Evans on this one. And you've got different members of different bands all playing live on the stage at different times. But this is a really fantastic live album. And this is one of the odd things where they call this Get One, but it's still Stiff Records. So that's 5 records from Stiff. So have a go, folks. Let us know, because what I'll do is, you don't have to, obviously, but if you let us know, then what I'll do is I'll put all these ones in one of my playlists and label it. So if you want to see what other folks, what other labels they've chosen, what artists, etc., then you can do it. So there we go. The other, sorry, there's one other thing I was going to say on this live album. The way it starts is the MC at the gig was Cosmo Vinyl, who was road manager of the Clash, and he opens it up by saying, "Please welcome on stage. Can you stop drinking at the bar and start to listen? And please welcome on stage Nick Lowe and Led Zeppelin." The humour of Stiff. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that, folks. See you soon.